Demon Cemetery, what is it? Where is it? Well, if you travel east up Central, historic Route 66, once you pass Swantabow on your left-hand side, you'll notice that there's an apartment complex known as the Four Hills Studios. In the early 90s, they were known as the Shaliko Apartments. In the late 90s, they were known as the Crestridge Apartments. People reported seeing strange things there since the late 80s. People don't know what it is. People claim that it was built on top of an ancient native sacred burial ground. Is that true? Or is it due to the fact that people have been murdered there since the late 80s? A lot of murders have happened there and a lot of strange occurrences have occurred. So hold on tight, because we got some stories for you. In the summer of 1997, an older gentleman was relaxing. Then, boom! An explosion happened. No one knows what caused the explosion. They said it was due to his heater being turned on without the pilot being lit and that gas was being leaked out. But this gentleman had lived there for months before that and had smoked in there and nothing had happened. No one went to turn on the gas or nothing. He just exploded one day and he passed away instantly. And no one knows what caused it. But it is a real strange occurrence that happened there. That same year, Father's Day, 1997, there's this gentleman who is known as Bear. He was a real nice gentleman, a Native American gentleman. He always wore jeans, boots, a t-shirt, and a bandana. And he had 2 kids and his wife there. He was a real friendly guy. He always played with the kids. He would throw the football with us, the baseball with us. He showed a few of the kids that didn't have a dad how to ride a bike even. He was just real friendly. He liked to be real active with his kids, and his kids were real friendly with everyone, so he was friendly to everyone that his kids liked. And he played with all of us, and he was just a real nice guy. But that Father's Day, he had a friend there, and his friend had been seen around. He was just like Bear. That's why they hung out. But something snapped in his friend that night, and he stabbed Bear. He stabbed Bear about 24 times from what they reported. And Bear, he was still alive after he got into a fight with his friend and he got stabbed. He walked over to his apartment, tried to, but he lived upstairs. And in those apartment complexes, there's a stairway, but it's almost like a hallway, a concrete hallway that you gotta walk into. And they said that Bear walked along the wall with his blood smearing it along the wall, trying to hold himself up. He climbed the stairs, used all his strength that he could to climb those stairs. And once he made it in front of his apartment, he fell and he passed away in front of his door, in front of his wife. And people were freaked out that day. Like, people had heard the screaming, but no one wanted to go outside that day. And my parents happened to be the managers. So I remember the day like it was yesterday, because I was playing with a baseball bat a week before that. My dad told me, please make sure you put that back where you got it from. I don't want to lose it. And I was being a kid, I was like, yeah, okay, Dad, sure, I'll put it back. I never did. And that night that happened, my dad was looking for his baseball bat. And he's like, Tiger, where's my baseball bat? And I'm like, I didn't know what to say, And my mom was like, he probably lost it. So my dad, frustrated, he grabs a golf club. And he goes outside to go see what's going on. Because we just heard screamings. We're just inside, we didn't really know what was going on. So my dad goes outside, and when you're a little kid, it seems like eternity. It seemed like he was out there for an hour. But realistically, he was probably out there for about 5 minutes. And when my dad came back in, he was sweating, huffing and puffing, and he was like, man, that guy almost got me. The guy almost got me. And, they're like, you go to your room, because they didn't like talking in front of the kids. So me being a mitotero as a kid, I was still listening to them. And I heard my dad say that he was walking. And those apartments are dark. And there's a lot of those like hallways with the staircases, like I said, to get to the second story. And he said he was walking and he just heard someone like walking behind him. So he turned around and he saw the guy there, and he couldn't really see his face. He just seen a shiny knife in his hand, and that he hit the guy with the golf club as hard as he could, and that he pretty much threw it at him. And once because he said he swung it so hard that it like flew out of his hands. It hit him, flew out of his hands. So he was like, I'm screwed. So he ran back to the apartments, and that's when my mom called the cops, and the cops showed up, and they ended up catching that guy. But Bear unfortunately passed away, right in front of his door. And no one knows what triggered what happened, because that guy was real friendly. We had seen him a few times, like I said, and they said he was just real friendly that day too, and then just snapped instantly. Like, just his eyes looked evil, and he just saw red, and he wanted violence, I guess. And he ended up killing Bear. And that gentleman reported after, saying that he don't know what overcame him. Like, he got mad and he wanted to hurt someone. He don't know what caused it. Like, he was real happy at one moment, and then he just snapped, and he ended up killing his best friend. And that's a pretty crazy thing to happen there. So people don't know if it's due to the bad energy there, or maybe it was due to them just drinking, you know. But they report a lot of strange things that have happened there. People have reported distorted voices. People claim that they have recorded voices. I have personally never heard any. But my grandma used to work there, and she used to go into the storage room because she was a maintenance lady. And she said that she heard some crazy stuff, and she don't really, my grandma has no reason to lie. She's a real religious person, and she said she'd pray, and she just didn't feel comfortable working there, and she wouldn't go in certain places by herself. She would make my mom go with her. Even me as a little kid, she felt comfortable. Like when I got older, I realized now like why she always had me with her too, you know. Besides the fact that I always wanted to be with my grandma, you know. But I was always with her, and it was because she didn't feel comfortable being by herself because she just felt a bad energy there. Another story is for me. My parents used to be the managers there, like I said, so they had this apartment. It was basically two normal apartments together, and they made one huge apartment. It was pretty much a house because the managers had to be on call. They always had to be there. So back in the 80s and the 90s, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a lot of wood, and there was like a bar, like a window bar pretty much. So there was the kitchen, there was one of those wooden window bars, and then behind that was a bathroom and the other bedroom. And I remember I used to sleep in the living room on the couch, and I used to just see like shadows walk by. Man shadows, female shadows, some with short hair, some with long hair. And I wouldn't really see faces, and they would always be like looking forward. So it'd always just be like a profile, you know, like a side view of their head. And they would just walk back and forth. And I always try to convince myself it was my Uncle Jesse, but my Uncle Jesse didn't live with us no more. And as I got older, I talked to my mom about it. I told her, hey, you know, do you remember those apartments we lived in? And she's like, oh yeah, there was a lot of strange things that happened there. And I was like, that's funny you say that, because I want to talk to you about it. Like, I used to see this and that. And she was like, mijito, I heard that they were built on top of a native burial ground, and people have seen strange stuff. She said she had heard strange stuff, kids laughing, stuff like that. People have reported just seeing like shadows on the corner of their eyes. People say that they've heard stuff in video camera, stuff like that. But I know my grandma, she didn't like being by herself there. She was a maintenance lady, and she didn't like going in the storage room by herself. None of that, because she just felt like a presence there, you know. And people reported seeing strange things there, and it's just crazy how a lot of violence has happened there. There's been a lot of murders that have happened there too as well. To this day, though, no one knows what causes all this stuff. People still report seeing strange things from what I hear. I've heard a few stories of people saying they saw stuff there. But I want to hear from you guys. Have you guys lived there? Have you heard anything? Have you seen anything there? Has any of your relatives lived there that report seeing strange things? Let us know in the comments. I hope you guys like the stories. We got more coming for you guys. You guys have a good week. Enjoy. Take care.